Calm down, boys. It's all in an afternoon's work for the elite referees, whose most read text must surely be Kipling's immortal line, "If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs." It was an apt message for the three officials for Ireland's game against France to deliver to a group of budding referees at a workshop in Dublin the day before the match.
Yeah, I think that's one of the skills of, the best referees. You've got to stay relaxed, composed, because you've got to make some decisions. And that's the art of refereeing, is knowing that players, coaches are in very stressful situations. So it's important, that you're aware of that and you manage and deal with those situations accordingly.
You need to be a strong character and have strong resolve, have self-belief. I think you need to have empathy for the game and what the players are trying to achieve. And you have to be a great man manager. And I think at the very top level that the best referees are the people that are able to manage men and get them to do what they don't really want to do, really, without necessarily becoming the dominant figure.
You've got to be able to get on with people. You've got to be able to make, like I said before, to get people to do what you want them to do without being too aggressive or officious. You certainly have to have a little bit of diplomacy about you as well.
A referee's life can be a lonely and thankless one, but they are an indispensable part of what is a group responsibility.
It's trying to get a holistic approach into the game, so the coaches and the players and the referees are all feeding into that. So we get that relationship. This weekend with Ireland and France, Steve would be open to speak to Philippe and Declan if they wanted, to discuss, any concerns that they may have, to discuss elements of his game or anything that he might want from the team. So it's always the idea of trying to make sure that the game and the product of rugby is improved, not there to say, well, this is what we do and this is what you do.
There's no doubt that there needs to be a line drawn in the sand somewhere where there is a distance between the referee and the players. And I think we're very much like a judge, really, that in the end you have to make a decision and make a ruling and move on. But interesting, in my pre-match plans, most of them aren't about technical refereeing. It's about myself staying calm, crossing the white line, those sorts of things.
You learn from very early on in your career that rugby refereeing can be a very negative business. And so after a game, everybody is willing to come and talk to you about the one decision they think you got wrong. And so it can be negative, and you can have lots of negativity after games. But over time, you find ways of dealing with that internally, with the support network of your colleagues, friends, and family. It does get easier after time.
I think the biggest critics of referees and of referees themselves, we criticise ourselves, quite heavily. We'll self-review, we'll critique our performance, because we all want to get better, so we don't come off a game and put that and say that game's behind us. We look at it, we review it, we try and make sure that we don't make those mistakes again. And so, that takes a certain personality to do that.
The laws, their interpretation and how they're applied will always be a source of lively debate, but one thing the officials are all agreed on is why they chose refereeing as a career.
I think you'll have a passion for the game. Everyone who's one of our international referees at the moment loves the game, loves their team, and are fans. So that's an essential element. But also, you've got to be a bit thick-skinned at times. You're going to get criticised at times. You're going to be self-critical at times. But it's that desire to want to get better and to keep on improving.
I had some time away from the top level, and I went back and refereed club rugby for a year. And I just thought to myself, I really still love this game, and I'd still be doing it if it wasn't my job.